Hey everybody, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a natural and simple New Year's Eve makeup tutorial. I started not to do one of these because I felt like everybody does New Year's Eve makeup looks, and to me they're kind of like always the same thing. It's always just like a sparkly lid with a bold lip. I have seen some with nude lips, but I just feel like they're all kind of like the same thing. So that's kind of like what I did today too, but I wanted to do something that was a bit more on the natural side with just like a little bit of pop to it, because I don't go out on New Year's Eve. Like, I'm going to be in my house and I'm probably going to be asleep by the time the ball drops. But for people who do go out, not everybody wants like a super sparkly glittery look. So if you're looking for something that's a bit more like toned down, I think that you would like this look. So I hope that y'all like the way that it came out. And before we get into the tutorial, if this is your first time here, my name is Sonia. I go by Sister Philly on YouTube, and I really hope that you'll consider subscribing today. I would really appreciate it, and you would really be helping me out. And of course, for those of you who are already subscribed and you're already supporting my channel, thank y'all so much for your continued support, and thank you for coming back today. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, I'm going for a natural look today, but I also want something that's going to hold up on my skin if I'm going to like a party, a get together. Maybe I'm going to be like in a congested area. Maybe I'm going to be dancing. I may work up a little sweat or something like that. So I want something that's going to hold up on my oily skin. So I'm going in with the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation, and I'm in the color Mahogany. This foundation has a relatively thick consistency. So I'm going to be blending it out with a damp sponge, because the damp sponge will help me sheer the product out a little bit. And this is buildable to full coverage. So if I want to, I can go back on top of this with another layer of product. But just to make sure that I'm not putting on too much, I'm going to go in with a damp sponge. And then if I need to, I'll go back on top of it with some more product. I'm in the color Mahogany in this foundation, and I did talk about this in one of my recent videos. I did my favorite purchases of 2018, and I did talk about this foundation, so I'll link that up here in case you guys haven't seen it. This foundation has like a soft powdery matte finish, so I definitely wanted to go with something that's matte for today because it'll hold up on my oily skin. But this one has like a nice soft matte finish, so I do think it still looks natural on the face. Now, if I wanted to, I could go in with a little bit more product on my cheeks where I had that hyperpigmentation, but again, I'm going for something that's natural looking too. So I'm gonna stick with this much foundation, but of course you can build it up if you want to. Next is the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. I use this in every single video, so I talked about this in my favorites video too. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I feel like I talk about it so much, but I didn't put a whole lot of foundation directly under my eye because I'm going to rely on this stuff for coverage under my eye. So I'm in the color Mocha for this. I'm going to make sure that I pull this product up to my inner corner because I always have little like dark spots there from wearing my glasses. But I'm going to concentrate most of this on my under eye area. I'm also going to put a little bit on my chin and my forehead. Now sometimes I blend this out with a sponge, but I'm going to do a brush today because the brush will give you just a little more coverage than the sponge. The brush won't shear the product out so much, and it does take longer to do this. A sponge will blend the product out a lot faster, but if you want your concealer to give you fuller coverage, then go in with a brush. I am going to blend out my chin and my forehead area with the sponge because with these two areas I don't necessarily need more coverage for my concealer. I just need the concealer to like just brighten my skin tone in those areas. So I'll just use the sponge just to blend it out a little faster. Now, if you think you have like super oily skin and you've tried this foundation before and you think that you still need to set it, you can go ahead and set it with a powder. I'm gonna skip that part. This foundation will normally get oily on me after a few hours, but I feel like I would prefer to just not set it and just see if I have to set it later on during the night. But I'm going to skip setting it for now, so I'm going to go right into my eyebrows. I'm going to use the LA Girl Shady Slim Bar Pencil, another product that I talked about in my favorites, but I'm going to do this off camera. So this is the color Blackest Brown, just so you'll know. So I'm going to do my brows off camera and I'll be right back. Okay, my brows are finished. I also put some concealer on my lids and we're going to go into the eyeshadow. I'm using the Too Faced Bonbons palette today. I'm using this palette because it has like a whole lot of browns in here. So I'm going for something that is pretty simple with just a little bit of pop. So I'm going to rely on a bunch of different browns to create this look. You don't have to use browns, but if you're looking for something simple, I would say just go with something that complements your eye color and your skin tone. But I'm just going with brown because that's like one of my favorite colors for eyeshadow. So I am going to start out with the color, I think I'm going to start out with the color Bordeaux. That's this like reddish brown here. I'm going to use that as a transition shade. So I'm just going to blend this out like right in my socket area. And I used the LA Girl Pro Concealer on my lid today. Normally I would use two concealers. I would put the LA Girl Pro one like close to my brow bone and then something lighter on my lid. I just decided to go in with one today because I'm going for like a relatively simple eye look, so I figured just the one would be okay for today. Alright, I'm gonna take the color Almond Truffle, that's this shade over here. I'm going to apply that to most of my lid, and it's like a very subtle color that is pretty close to my skin tone, but I think it still shows up, but I'll show you in a minute why I'm choosing like such a subtle color. Even though this is such a subtle color on me, I do really like it. I really like very cool, like muted, like mauve-y tone colors like this for both my eyeshadow and my lipstick. So I do really like this color on me. All right, next I'm gonna start off with the color Malted. In my head, I was going back and forth between Malted and what is this called? Dark Truffle. I don't want this this look to look like too smoky, so I'm gonna go in with the lighter of the two brown shades first, and I'm gonna see how that looks, but I may end up going on top of it with the darker shade. But let's start off with the color Malted, and I'm just going to pat that on the outer part of the lid, and I do think that's dark enough. Because again, we're not going for like a super smoky, like sultry look today. All right, I'm gonna take the same brush, but I'm gonna take the tip of it and I'm just gonna lightly brush this color like ever so slightly into my crease. And this will just help the color like blend in a little bit more and kind of get rid of that harsh stop right there. I'm also blending it up just a little bit, just so that it's blending into this entire area just a little bit better. Okay, next I'm going in with this color here. This is called Cafe Au Lait, and it's like a very like shimmery silver color. So I'm gonna pick some of this up on my brush and I'm gonna wet this so that it's a bit more pigmented. And I'm going to concentrate this on the very inner part of my lid. And this is what we're going to rely on to give us like a little bit of pop in our look. So I don't want it to be like super pigmented right here because I am going to put some of this on my inner corner too. But I just want just a little bit of shimmer on my lid. So I'm just going to concentrate that right in the inner corner. And I do think I got a little bit of the shadow just a little higher than I wanted it to go. So I'm going to take a small concealer brush and see if I can get rid of some of that shade. Okay, so you guys should be able to see that there's just like a hint of shimmer on my lid. You can build this up as much as you want to, but I just want a little bit of something on there, so I'm just going to do the same thing to the other side. Alright, for my lower lash line, I'm going to pick up the color Bordeaux, and I'm just going to place that on the very outer part of my lower lash line. And I'm going to pick up this brush again, and I'm just going to very lightly diffuse this area over here. I just want everything to look like pretty blended in on these outer corners. And if you're not familiar with like any of my makeup tutorials, I like for my eyeshadow to be kind of I guess like free-handed looking. I don't necessarily care for like super defined looking eyeshadow looks on me. I just think it looks a bit more natural when it's just like, you know, naturally diffused, I guess. I'm going back in with the first color that we used, Mocha, and I'm just going to use that to just diffuse up at the top also. Alright, we're going to go back to the eyes in just a little bit, but now we're going to go into bronzer, and I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me Powder in 40 Dark. This is another product that I use quite often on my channel. So I'm going to take a big fluffy brush and just very lightly bronze my forehead with this. And I go in like super light with bronzer because I feel like I over apply very easily, so it may look like there's hardly anything on my forehead, but that's the way I like it. I'm going to take up some more of the product on the same brush. I'm just going to squeeze this together to hit my cheeks and my jawline with this. I'm still trying to get used to this hair, so bear with me. Now for blush today, I'm actually not using my everyday blush. I'm going to go in with the ABH blush kit in Radiant, I think this is called. Yeah, this is called Radiant, and I'm going to go in with the color Coastline. I'm using this today because I love the Note Cosmetics blush, and that's the one that I use on most days. But I'm using this one today because I do think the lasting power is a little bit better with this ABH blush. So again, I want to use stuff that I think will hold up on my face if I think I'm going to be out for hours at a party or something like that. And this one just holds up a little bit longer than my Note Cosmetics blush. So I'm just going to apply that to my cheeks, and I like to work my blush up toward my temples. So highlighter for today is one of those products that we're going to rely on to give us just a little extra pop on top of our natural look. So I'm going in with one of the Fenty Killawatt highlighters. I'm going to use this color here. This is called Sandcastle. This one is very like brown tone, very skin tone on me, but it's also very pigmented. So I think there's a nice mix here of natural plus pop. So I'm going to put on a good amount of this because, you know, it is New Year, so we want it to be noticeable. So if you don't have this shade, or you're looking for a shade that's, you know, more comparable to your skin tone, I would say just use something that, again, just complements you. Like if you have like warmer undertones, you might want to go in with something that is maybe more like yellow toned or something. but just use something that's pretty comparable. Okay, I'm gonna set everything in place. I'm using the Wet n Wild Matte Finish Spray. Okay, I meant to actually put on my inner corner highlight and my brow bone highlight before I sprayed my face, but I forgot. So I'm going back into the Too Faced palette and I'm going back into this color Cafe au Lait. So for my inner corner highlight, I'm actually going to put on a good amount of this today. Definitely more than I would do for like an everyday look, because this is a New Year's look. And again, we're going for something natural, but we also want like a little bit of pop. So I'm going to give myself a good amount of inner corner highlight. And you can build it up or down depending on your liking. I think it's a little bit too much on this side here. That looks a little bit better. So I'm gonna concentrate that inner corner highlight, but I'm also gonna make sure that I'm blending it back in to that color that I have on the inner part of my lid, and that shouldn't be hard to do because it is the same shade. But just in case you know, change this up a little bit and you're using a slightly different shade on your inner lid, just make sure that you're blending those colors in together. And then I'm also going to take just a little bit of this and just lightly brush the arch of my brow as well. So that inner corner highlight and this silvery shimmer on our brow bone and the lid, as well as the cheek highlight, that's what we're relying on to give our natural look just a little like sparkly pop today. I'm gonna put on some eyeliner and mascara. I'm gonna do this off camera and I'll be right back. Okay, and to finish everything off with lips, I'm gonna start off with the Wet n Wild Color Icon lip pencil in the color Chestnut. I'm gonna line my lips with this. I'm going to finish the look off with the Makeup Revolution lip topper in the color Exquisite. This is a very like pinkish, like silvery shade. It has a lot of little like silver specks in it. So I'm going to put on a good amount of this, and I hope you guys can see how like silvery it is. If you're more into gold, they do have one of these in gold. It's called Luxurious. I just prefer silver over gold. And I think that ties in very nicely with all of the silver that we have going on our eye. Okay, so this is my version of a natural New Year's Eve look with a little bit of pop. I'm still trying to get used to this hair. I don't know how I feel about it, so let me know what y'all think. Do y'all like this look better, or do y'all like my straight hair better? I don't know. This has to like grow on me if I decide to keep it. But anyway, I do like the way that the makeup turned out, and I really hope that y'all did too. Whatever y'all have going on for New Year's, I hope that y'all have a very safe and very happy New Year. And I can't believe it's almost 2019. That's just like blowing my mind. But let me know what y'all think about the look. Give me some feedback in the comments down below. I would really, really appreciate it. And I hope to see y'all back for my next video. Until then, take care. Have a good one, y'all. Bye.